Do you know what's really crazy? One of the hot takes I was gonna I was gonna put up for you today stems from this. I was told yesterday that Paul Scholes is overrated. That was it.
Oh,
So Paul
was it a TikToker?
No, it was a YouTuber. And he said Paul Scholes overrated. And I got into a little thread with him, and he has in his bio, it's Hassan, by the way, that he's undefeated in football debates. And when I say I gave him a headshot dead,
What, Liverpool Hassan?
Yeah, headshot dead last night, right? So he said he just said Scholes overrated. And I basically pointed out that he was integral in winning 25 trophies over 19 years. And he said to me that he wasn't pivotal or integral to Man United. He was simply a cog in Man United's wheel, that he wasn't important. And I said, of course he was important, and gave him the reason. And he said, well, if he was so important, why didn't he win the Player of the Year award at Liverpool? At Man United, sorry. I said, well, loads of great players, Andy Cole being one of them, Dennis Irwin, Van der Sar, Rio Ferdinand, Michael Carrick. None of them won Player of the Year. Does that mean they weren't important to Man United achieving all the great things they did? And he basically kind of went on to say those players are all recognized. Paul Scholes was not. Which I responded with, well, if Paul Scholes isn't recognized, then he can't be overrated. And this is it. Like,
and it was at that point he knew he fucked up.
It was one of these things. But the hot take that came out of it, someone said this: ignoring the roles, Scholes is a great player, but it's different operating when it comes to these two things. He never was and never had been the best player in his team. But this guy was arguing why Gerrard was better, and all I said back to him was, Xavi and Iniesta were not better than Messi. Does that mean Gerrard was better because he was the best at Liverpool? That's how crazy football takes are getting at the moment. You're seeing fans. I'm seeing fans say, if you're not the best the best player in your team, you can't be better than the best player at another club. I'm seeing fans say, and this goes back to the Harry Kane points, why I brought it up, that not winning trophies, not delivering in finals, not delivering in semis, not delivering in title run-ins, suddenly that's unimportant in football. It is honestly staggering to see the level of depravity that fans are dropping to. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but the more outlandish they take, the more reaction they'll get. That's it. Like that's why I said, if it's TikTok, I'm surprised at Hassan because he actually does talk a lot of sense. Yeah, but Paul Scholes is one of the best footballers you'll ever see in the Premier League era. That ain't even up for debate. Yeah, and the reason that Fergie played him and he had such a long career at Man United. Look all the players Fergie's brought in the time he was at Man United and how long Scholes played first team football at that football club. One of the greatest manager I've ever seen in my lifetime. Yeah, Ancelotti and Fergie, are two of the greats. Jose's up there as well, but we've been blessed in this area. But for me, Fergie's the best manager in my lifetime. And the fact that Fergie played him week in, week out, and then when you listen to Roy Keane or you listen to Giggsy and you listen to the other greats of that team, who was the best player in that team? They all say Scholes. Every single one of them says Scholes.
This is the thing with it, right? His logic is he wasn't even rated by his own fan base as the best player at the time. Other people won the awards. He wasn't rated as the best player at the club. So how can he be compared to Steven Gerrard? And my example is this. It's like the film Striptease with Demi Moore. When you first watch that film, the first 20 minutes, you can't help but see nipples. All you see everywhere is nipples, and you just think nipples everywhere. After about half an hour, you stop. After half an hour, you stop seeing the nipples because you just get used to the fact that everybody's naked in that film. That's what Paul Scholes is. I'm not saying he's a nipple. I'm simply stating that there was so much quality in that Man United team that Paul Scholes blended in.
Do you know another great? You've just hit the nail on the head. Do you know another player? Right? This is at Arsenal in that kind of era as well. That never really gets mentioned as a top player is Gilberto Silva. Yeah, that guy never gets put in the debate for DM best ever in the Premier League era. Never gets put in the debate. But you know what? You go and ask all the players that played in that team, they say he was unreal. Like without him, we wouldn't have won so much.
Bro, when you have great teams, there are players that get left behind. And Dom Hassan, he done himself today, and he doesn't even know he's done himself because I quote tweeted him saying irony, and he asked me what was ironic about his tweet. But he tweeted and said Mo Flower deserves a more grateful fan base, and will only get his flowers when he moves on and people realize he is special. And I just quote tweeted saying the irony. He still doesn't understand what irony means, I don't think, because you're saying Scholes isn't great because his fans didn't rate him, but you're angry that Liverpool fans don't appreciate the greatness of Mo Salah. So you can see there's a great player at Liverpool who hasn't in his time been lauded as the best. When they were at their pomp, Trent and Henderson, Van Dijk, Alisson, Mane were all heralded as star components. He was good. He wasn't the star boy. He wasn't the guy that everybody looked at and went, he's our main guy. And you're angry about it. But in the same breath, you're stating that Scholes can't be great because he kind of got the same treatment. He was never Man United fans' poster boy. And the reason he wasn't the poster boy is because he just wasn't that kind of character, that type of individual. But yeah, the takes I see from people these days, the disrespect that goes towards legendary football figures in the game is unbelievable. At the same time, the media don't defend them, and they're defending the status of someone like Harry Kane, who hasn't achieved a speckle compared to a Gilberto Silva, compared to a Mo Salah, compared to a Paul Scholes. He's not even he's not in the same conversation as Premier League legends as those individuals because he hasn't delivered at the highest level. So yeah, it's an absolute crazy.
I've just found the Fergie quote.
Crazy.
Yeah, I found the Fergie quote. I think Paul Scholes is the best player in England. He's got the best skills, the best brain. No one can match him. Glenn Hoddle also said there isn't a player of his mould anywhere in the world. Terry Venables is the best 1-2 touch passer in the country. Yeah, he sees the game unlike any other player. Shearer said if you ask any footballers to pick out a player they most admire, most of them will pick Paul Scholes. Cristiano Ronaldo. Mate, we're talking about some of the greats here. Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo said Scholes is the best player I've ever played with. Yeah, and he's helped me a lot when I was young. He's amazing. Like we're talking like
Lionel Messi
have achieved and won everything.
This is what's crazy. Lionel Messi said that when you're growing up through the Barca Academy, it's called, is it La Mesa?
La Masia.
La Masia, sorry, I'm terrible with pronouncing.
My Spanish is great now, Tel.
You live there. It said that his name was mentioned a lot when they were teaching people. Yes, they would show young kids the Barca greats and the Dutch greats because their system is obviously based on that. But Paul Scholes' footage has been used for decades now at Barcelona's training ground to teach people about controlling the ball, controlling the tempo. It's actually crazy. But you know the biggest faux pas the Liverpool fans have made with this debate is Sam, in fairness to him, goes down the line of Ballon d'Or nominations, Player of the Year awards as to why he thinks Gerrard's better, but always focuses heavily on the stats as well. But most Liverpool fans always send me the stats of Gerrard versus Scholes. And I did a little research today. Per game played, Bruno Fernandes has more goal and assists per game than Gerrard does in his career. And if he keeps tracking like this for the next 2 seasons, Bruno Fernandes will surpass the amount of goals and the amount of assists that Gerrard had. Then Liverpool fans better hope that this man don't win a Premier League and or a Champions League, because then based on their own logic, Bruno's better than Gerrard. And this is the problem with fans now. They want to win every debate. They want their players to always be on top. And what you end up doing is creating narratives that will see your legends toppled, and go further down the pecking order. And I'm just biding my time. They did it as well. They used to say trophies don't matter. And then people would put some real serious evidence forward as to why Reece James is better.
There we go. Even Xavi. Yeah, I've just found a load more quotes, right? Xavi, for me, he's the best midfielder I've ever seen in the last 20 years. Yeah, that was when he was playing, yeah? When Xavi was playing. Thierry Henry, I can't understand why Scholes has never won Player of the Year award. Yeah, he should have won it long ago. Maybe it's because he doesn't seek the limelight like some of the other stars. Wayne Rooney, Scholes, he was brilliant. Yeah, the things he could do with a ball. He obviously weren't the quickest, but he was so sharp you couldn't get near him. Yeah, David Beckham, obviously. Cesc Fabregas, another great. Yeah, he's the one whose level I aspire to. Yeah, he's the best player in the Premier League. Roy Keane, I won't name the Man United players, so obviously they're going to back him. Yeah, Pep Guardiola. Out of everyone at Manchester United, I would pick Scholes. Best midfielder of a generation. Yeah, I would have loved to have played alongside him. Yeah, Laurent Blanc. I'll tell anyone who asks, Scholes is the best English player ever. Yeah, Patrick Vieira, best player in the Premiership, Paul Scholes. Yeah, Ronaldinho, I want to pass like him. Who taught him to do that? Mate, I could go on and on and on. Even Bruno Fernandes has said this, by the way. Luis Figo, Edgar Davids, Sir Bobby Charlton.
Let me read you this quote. Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes. Wow. Also different. I don't really like speaking about this subject to be disrespectful. Lampard was ruthless in terms of numbers. Arriving into the box, he was top. But in terms of controlling the game and a natural top footballer, I'd go with Paul Scholes as being the best in this debate. They are all very different, all top players in different ways. But to be spoke about in the same breath of them for me is good enough. That was Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard himself said, and by the way, I'm not. The debate wasn't that he's better than these guys. The debate was, is Scholes overrated? And this is what I would say to Liverpool fans that do this. If you sat down in front of your biggest legend, Gerrard, and said Scholes is overrated, your legend would laugh in your face. So don't embarrass yourself and embarrass your club. Super chat here, sorry, says Carlo has 6 league titles in his career, 1 league title in 8 years with Milan. More third place finishes than league titles. Managed Real Madrid, PSG, Chelsea, Milan. But he does have 4 Champions Leagues as well.
And many cups.
And amazing
he's won in 5 different countries.
Yeah. This here from Joshua Jack says, I disagree, Terry. If he walks through the door, he will have all the pressure because he will be looked at as the missing piece to winning the title. About Harry Kane, yeah, he may be, but for me, I think between him and Man United, they could create they would be able to create a winning bond. I think he'll help Man United win Premier League titles and Champions League.
Can I just read this comment out very quickly?
Of course you can, mate.
Where is it? Salah is now our greatest, Terry, says Norat 180. Yeah. Salah is nowhere near your greatest ever player, mate. You're a Liverpool fan and you're saying Salah.
I think Premier League player, I think he's one of their best, yeah.
Nah. Suarez is better than him. Yeah. Michael Owen was better than him. Robbie Fowler was better than him. Yeah. And that's just talking strikers. Yeah, we could go to midfielders, we could go to centre backs, and we could go before Premier League as well. Yeah, mate, he ain't even in the top 10 best ever Liverpool players. Nowhere near, mate. Torres, Owen, and Suarez are clear. Gerrard's clear. Yeah, there's 4. Fowler, there's 5. Like, come on, like really. This
Hang on, but those guys didn't deliver what Salah's done. So you were saying earlier, like, Kane can't be what he is with no trophies, but Salah's delivered more trophies than for Liverpool.
Hey, Gerrard delivered the Champions League.
Yeah, but Salah's delivered a Champions League and a Premier League. Their first Premier League in 30 years. That's
okay, why. That's great. But now,
technically, I agree with you. I think some of those players technically are better than Mo Salah. But Mo Salah, in terms of his consistency of performance, consistency of outputs, and what he has led Liverpool to win in the last 5 to 6 years, it easily puts him in the top 2, top 3 Premier League stars of Liverpool that they've had in the Premier League era, at least.
Before the Premier League, Terry.
But I'm not. But I don't like to challenge the legendary status of players that I didn't watch play because I wasn't born.
Hold on. Stop right there. So on that basis, then, are we not claiming any trophies before the Premier League to talk about Liverpool being a big club? Then
that isn't the conversation. I just said in terms of the Premier League era. In terms of their entire history, he definitely isn't one of their top legends because of all the players. But the players you mentioned are all Premier League era. What I'm saying is the Dalglish's of this world and Ian Rush's and Souness's.
Graham Souness.
Alan Hansen. These guys.
Mark Lawrenson, top players.
Sorry, let me just finish my point. Sorry. Liverpool fans will state who their top people are. I'm only talking about this Premier League era because I've witnessed it and seen it, right? Because I don't know exactly who the best. I know Dalglish is probably their best player in that era, as an example. But in terms of Premier League era, Mo Salah's got to be one of their greats. He has to be, and I think he's the highest Champions League goal scorer of all time. I think he probably sits in the top 10 to 15 Liverpool legends of all time. According to Liverpool fans, I think they'd put him in there. I really do.
No. Not well. Listen, Liverpool fans know the club better than I do, but nah, yeah. And if we're going by this whole recency bias, yeah, maybe some Liverpool fans that are in this chat need to go and research the club's history. Yeah, because when you see Graham Souness sat on Sky Sports on Sunday on Super Sunday, it come up with all of his record underneath. Yeah, that's the levels, mate. That's the levels. Yeah, Ian Rush, another one, top player. John Barnes, top player. Like, we're talking top players that have won everything. Emlyn Hughes, there you go. Georgie knows. Top players. And this whole Premier League era, I mean, football started before the Premier League, Terry.
I totally understand that, and I understand that completely. But I think you can, like, sort of compartmentalize elements of conversation and debate because of when you were born, when you're alive, post this, post that. But again, when it comes to overall era, he's definitely not in their top 5 because they've had so many. But no one from the Premier League era at Liverpool can be in their top 5. I even think the way that Liverpool fans laud Gerrard as their best, it doesn't make sense to me when they had players that were achieving more than him in previous. That's for them to
makes
explain
sense
why.
to me because they don't go and research these players because they ain't interested in these players because it's all about what's going on now and this era. Like, I can't rate Maradona above Messi because I see Maradona when he was smashed off his face coming towards the end of his career. I didn't, but if I speak to my old man, he'll say him and George Best were easily the best 2 players on the planet. Yeah, but I never see him. So I would always rate Messi above Maradona. So I kind of get it. But at the same time, I also know how great Maradona was.
When it's your club, you're not Argentinian. You haven't got a duty to go and research that. But if you're a Liverpool fan, you don't research your history. It's crazy to me.